Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing good. Firstly, please excuse the vinyl gloves. They are not the one. I accidentally ordered vinyl and not nitrile. They are horrendous, guys. Don't do it. Okay, secondly, we're using this mould. Now, if you recently saw a video I did with a Moulds and Shapes unboxing, this was part of the collection. This is a 9-piece pendant mould and it's got like a crinkled paper effect and or water effect. I am finally doing some oceans. We're only midway through July and I'm telling you it has rained for about a week and a half. So I figured water, summer, it kind of goes together and I'm going to do an ocean video. I love resin oceans. I have had so many videos on my channel doing this. First up, we're going to be using teeny tiny miniature seashells. Now they are from Resin 8 and sadly Resin 8 is no more. So if you know where you can get miniature seashells from, please let me know in the comments. We're using some resin dyes from Just View Online and we're also using some snow. No, we're not. We're not using some snow. We're using flakes. We're using some little tiny resin flakes from Let's Resin, and that kit was part of their UV resin starter kit and I've got quite a few boxes, so gonna be using the flakes. Now as for the Just For You Online resin dyes, guys, the colors are stunning. Sadly my camera wasn't really able to cope with the holographic foil, so I've written them on screen. We've got azure blue, aqua blue and Pacific blue. We've also got a midnight blue. I'm not thinking I'm going to be using all four, but I definitely want a combination of light to dark to create this beautiful ocean ombre that I absolutely love doing. Now, if you've been with me more than 1 or 2 summers, you will know that oceans, I adore them. I absolutely adore them. And I think it was last summer or the summer before, I went through this whole phase as well of making my own silicone molds, my own seashell silicone molds, creating my own seashells from polymer and then using silicone to make inlays. I did a whole host of things on the ocean theme. And honestly, I think that was probably my favorite summer, honestly. Like I haven't done anything ocean so far this year, mainly because quite frankly, it feels like autumn already. Anyway, let's get back to the video. These are the seashells from Resin 8. Now I am zooming in on them, guys. They are teeny tiny shells. I've mixed up all of my blues into 3 separate cups. Now these are going to be double layered. The first thing for me to do is to individually lay down these teeny tiny miniature seashells. This is all very much optional. This is just the style I was going for and the vision I had. So I am speeding this up because this was long in real time. Each and every one of these 9 pendants from the Moulds and Shapes mold are getting a handful of seashells. And I'm not going to lie, I was doing it meticulously so that each seashell could be seen around the right way when we demold. But after around about 3 minutes, I gave up. I fully gave up and I just started chucking them in there. You guys know me, I don't have the patience for it, but it all worked out beautifully in the end. This is what we are looking like. Now, to secure these seashells in place, there's a couple of things here. I want the seashells to be very, very visible on demold. I don't want them to be in the blue. That is a beautiful effect and I love seeing resin work like that, but I prefer to see my seashells. I'm trying to work out these tongue twisters. I like to see my seashells. So what I was hoping for here was to pour some clear resin down on top of the seashells, just enough to cover them and make sure that whatever resin I put in next, it's not going to drown out the seashells. I hope I'm making sense. So the clear is just going to make it so that we can really fully see them. Second up, I'm not filling these up right now. You can see here they've all had a layer of clear slowly but surely poured over them to make sure they're all covered. And I'm not filling these pendants up. This is just the first layer because in the second layer, I want to do something else, which I couldn't do all at once because again, it might drown out my seashells and I want them to be the main star of the show, apart from the stunning results we're going to get with this mold. Next up, directly on top of that clear resin, I'm just pouring in the next kind of shade, the lightest shade of blue. I've made up two, I think, was it two? Three. I've made up 3 shades of blue, and I just want the very much lightest one, the shallow end, right by the beach. I want that light blue, just to be kissing the clear resin. You don't want to go too crazy into the clear, because I still want my seashells to be seen. You just want to kiss the edge of that clear resin with your next available colour. Now, again, I'm going slowly, but I know that I'm going to be adding more colour to the tops. Where the ring holder is, the piece of silicone that, yeah, you can see what I'm doing here. I think I'm trying to over-explain. So the next colour is going in. This is just a slightly darker one, and this is going in at the top. Now, even if there's no room at the top, I'm still pouring it in the top. This is going to push down the very, very light blue resin and the clear resin. It's going to kind of have this knock-on effect of pushing everything back down towards the seashells. And similarly, when I put the very dark colour in for the deepest ocean, it's going to have the same effect. Equally, I've put so much clear resin on the seashells that it doesn't interfere, you know, it doesn't protrude in to the clear area. Now, as for the midnight blue dye is minimal here. Minimal. I'm putting literally just 1 or 1.5 to 2 scoops from my lollipop stick right at the very top where that loophole is, just to give it that ombre effect of going from shallow, beautiful tropical beach all the way out to dark ocean. Now, with my leftover resin, recently I've been starting to use these pots. You would have seen these recently in an Amazon unboxing or Amazon haul. And this is one I've recently demolded. So any leftover resin, I've got these pots just to my right hand side. Any leftovers, doesn't matter the colour, I am literally just throwing them in there, and oh my goodness me, this pot is beautiful. So this is what we are looking like at this stage. This is when I'm going to walk away and we're going to come back 24 hours later for the next step. But you can really see here that that clear resin has done the job. I can clearly see the seashells at the bottom, and none of that blue has really dominated or taken over or seeped in towards. And I think that's mainly because the seashells are quite weighty and they've almost like held the resin in place where it needs to be. The final step was to add some of these blue flakes from the Let's Resin UV starter kit. Now, here's the thing, my camera really started playing up at this point. It just kept going in and out of focus, and it really was not going to be pleasant watching. So I just stopped recording, and this is what you see. This is where I walk away. This is where I start to walk away. So I've put the flakes in at the top just to give it a little something, a little bit of extra shimmer. And I'll be honest, you could do so much more to these than I have done. I've still got those gorgeous, adorable miniature, and I mean miniature, like little baby finger, thumbnail size miniature sea creatures, sharks, turtles, all of that. I've still got all of them that Moray from Lothian Woodworks cut me on the laser. So much you could put into these little starfish. Like, the potential is so real with oceans. I just love. Okay, as it said on screen, 24 hours later, and it is time to do the second and final layer. I am putting a sandy beach into each and every one of these pendants. Now, again, the reason I've done it this way around, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but the reason I've done it this way around is because I wanted my seashells to be very, very clear, crystal clear in crystal clear resin, and very visible. If I put the sand in too soon, the sand would have just sunk straight through that clear resin and my seashells would have been no more. They would have been completely disguised in a whole heap of sand. And again, how you do this is entirely up to you, but I'm just doing 1 to 2 big fat juicy kind of dollops of resin sand, and I'm just using the edge of my lollipop stick to get them down on there, overlaying the shells only. Now, again, I wasn't too worried about this sand taking over the piece because I already knew that I'm going to put like 1/3 sand, or even 1/4 sand, and then the rest is just simply going to be filled up with clear resin, and then we are done. That is it. That is all. But as I was saying before, there is so much more you could do with these. This is just to give you a hint, a bit of inspiration, a bit of an idea, and then what you put inside could be anything. Like you could have little mermaids in there, you could have little metal charms, you can get like sea creature metal charms. You could really go to town on what you put underneath here. You could use some Cricut vinyl decal to make it look like there's a shipwreck at the bottom of the ocean. Like the world is your oyster, basically. But I was keeping these simple because the mould has got that rippled water stroke crushed paper effect on the top. I didn't want to do too much that was going to take away from that. But it would be really interesting to see what little miniature silhouette sharks and things would look like under that ripple. Like, would they look rippled? Would they look like they're swimming? Do you know what? Does that make sense? Would they have movement to them? Would they have visual movement? Yeah, really interesting. But loving this. So you can see here now I'm filling them up with clear resin. This is the final step. Filling them up with clear resin. It does push the sand back down, but what I noticed happening was it was separating the sand out from the heavier grit to the lighter grit, and you'll definitely see the results of that when we show you the demold. When I show you the demold. I love the effect it gave. I absolutely love it. But yeah, this is it. I walked away then. I put my microwave holder, no Claire, my microwave food cover over them to keep any other additional debris off of the surface. And this is 24 hours later. We're back for demold. Now, I am not going to demold each and every one individually and show you because let's be honest, they're all very much similar. But guys, how pretty is this? And again, my camera wasn't doing it justice. They really needed a white background. So my plan here really was just get them out, get them all out, speed it up. We don't need to sit through each and every single one. And then once they are all out, we're going to put them on a white background and really take a seriously close up view of just how beautiful these are. Now here they are all done on a white background, and that water effect surface, or crushed paper surface, it works for both, is beautiful. It literally makes me want to dive into a swimming pool and just lay there all day on a lilo. Just, oh my gosh, guys, you've no idea. I am such a water baby. I could live in water. That's it. That's all I've got to say. But yeah, here they are. I absolutely love them. I love the fact that the shells can be really seen. Every colour in every shell is visible through that clear resin that I poured in. And when you look real closely, you can see how the sand has been almost diluted, filtered in some kind of way. Some of that sand has stayed around the shells, but then the darker grit in the sand has actually been transported out into the pendant, and I kind of love it. It makes it look like the sea is quite shallow at that point, and you could quite happily walk out into shallow seas. Love. I am going to get a little bit more close up for you in a minute, but I'm just kind of trying to take a bit of an image of each and every one because they don't all have the same crinkled, crumpled surface. They're all completely different. No two are the same. So that was really interesting as well to see the detail that brings. But oh guys, look how beautiful these would be with little miniature silhouettes, little crabs, beautiful little starfish. Even the ombre blues work. You've got that super aqua, almost, yeah, what was I going to say? Aqua colour right by the sand. And then as the sea goes out and the ocean gets deeper, you can see it just ombreing into a darker blue. And it's just my favourite thing to do is to mix the blues because blue is pretty much my favourite colour. Can you see here that detail in the sand? And it's almost like you don't even see that when you're putting the sand in first. You don't see all of the different shades that the sand has. I'm obsessed. It's tropical. It's all of the summer vibes. Now that I've done these, again, I think they would look beautiful with something stuck on top. So even though we've got that stunning rippled surface, that water effect wavy surface, you could then go ahead and physically stick a starfish to the surface. Just a small one, you don't want to take over, but just a starfish on the bottom or bottom left, bottom right, just to stick it on with some resin. And that then becomes more of a 3D chunky beautiful element of your keyring. Equally, I've got that mould, if you remember last summer. I absolutely love Katie Sue molds. Like, she's a fondant icing mould artist, but I use them for polymer clay and resin. Flip flops. I've got that gorgeous summer mould that has those teeny tiny little flip flops. Guys, thongs. If you're from Australia, I think you guys call them thongs. I can't remember what you guys call them in America or the rest of Europe, but we call them flip-flops. And even just making a pair of those from that mold and then sticking those on the beach area, again, beautiful. You could really elevate these with what you then do or what you place inside the resin. But this is up there as my favorite thing to do with epoxy resin, because I guess it is a little bit chuck it all in, isn't it? There's freedom. There's freedom and to create and do whatever you want. But yeah, love. Thank you so much if you are still here. Thank you to Moulds and Shapes for this mould. It's a stunner. It is a beauty. I've loved it. This is the same mould that matches the coasters. The coasters are obviously a lot bigger. You would have seen me use those with some Eco recently. Yeah, let me know if you feel inspired and let me know if you love the ocean effect. But what could these be? Guys, anything you wish. They could be key rings. They could be bag charms. They really could hang off of your wardrobe doorknobs, your chest of drawer knobs. You could turn them into anything, even fridge magnets. Even though they've got a hole at the top, you could easily just fill that in with resin and they could just be giant chunky necklaces. You name it. It can be it. There's no restrictions here. So I will see you all in the next video. Bye.